Due to the nature of this week's artist's work, although our speech will not be explicit, it may contain suggestive material not appropriate for younger listeners.
Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Music She Missed, the podcast where I try to get my best friend caught up in some of the most popular songs and artists that impact our lives. I'm Allison.
Hi, I'm Rachel and I missed all the music.
Hi Rachel, welcome back to this week's episode. How are you?
Doing good, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. I just want to jump right in with our question for this week.
Go for it.
What are your opinions about women's fashion in the 1980s?
1980s, okay. Not 70s, not 90s, 80s.
Correct.
So we're talking about bright color, clothes. Wow, just bright.
Okay, what else do you picture? What comes to mind? What do you think were some good parts of 80s fashion and maybe the not so good parts?
I like how there was a lot more accessories in the 80s compared to other fashion decades.
Like big rubber bracelets.
Yeah, they brought into things that would accent not just the clothing and fabric itself. And where also the fabric had more design to it. I think it wasn't straight colors of like, oh, it's a green top, it's a red top. There was just more design, geometric parts to it in the 80s. So I do like the 80s. I like other decades a little bit better.
Me too.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you're not the biggest fan of 1980s fashion.
I'm kind of curious how this wraps into our next group.
Well, the artist for this week is an 80s fashion icon.
Really? Who?
Yeah. Well, you're going to find out, but first we have to do the drum roll.
Okay, let's do it.
Madonna.
She's the cum chick, right?
You mean like in her bra?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the many fashion statements that she's known for. What else do you know about Madonna?
She's still alive.
True.
Material Girl.
Yes, right. That's one of her songs.
I think that might be it.
Okay, so we got cone bras.
And that's only because that song was in 13 Going on 30 with Jennifer Gardner.
One of your movie associations.
Sorry, a lot of movies associated with music.
Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter how you know it, as long as you know it.
I think that song was in there.
Do you know anything else about her?
I think she's British.
No.
No? That's about it.
Okay.
Maybe I know more. I don't know.
All right. Well, first of all, Madonna is known as the Queen of Pop.
Queen of Pop.
Yes. So a few episodes back, you learned about the King of Pop. Now you get to learn
About
the Queen.
The Queen of Pop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because only pop people are in America.
Yeah. No, she's American.
Okay.
But you don't have to be American to be a pop star.
Oh, okay.
She just happens to be. So she's the Queen of Pop. And I'm going to list some of the other songs, like we usually do. And you can tell me, yes, you've heard of it before, or no, pass.
Okay.
All right. Ray of Light.
Pass.
Like a Prayer.
Pass.
Vogue.
Is that the one where you put your hands in the square of your face?
Yeah, well, the music video has a lot of like unusual like dance moves and like striking a pose.
Is that the square of the face though?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've never seen the music video, but I think I've seen people do the square with their faces with your hands or something like that. So maybe I know that song. I don't know.
You've seen people like vaguely imitating the music video to Vogue.
Whatever,
But you don't know how the song goes or...
Vogue?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. No,
Pass.
Okay. That's fine. Holiday?
Pass.
All right. Last one. Like a Virgin.
Oh. I think I've heard that song.
Maybe.
Yes. Like a virgin. Is it high pitched?
I mean, it's Madonna singing.
Okay. I just don't know that stuff.
You might recognize it from the movie Moulin Rouge. They do a parody, or they do like a version of that song.
Oh yeah, you and I watched that movie a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Except it's sung by men, so it sounds really different.
Oh, then maybe that's why I'm confused. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess I've heard that song, but just in Moulin Rouge. So
okay. Before we rate your knowledge of Madonna, which seems to be limited,
But I've heard her name before, and I
Okay.
think she's in the news every once in a while.
Oh, for sure.
And she still does concerts.
Definitely.
I'm now learning she's American.
Yeah.
She's now the queen of pop.
She has been for a while. So why don't we have you rate your current knowledge of Madonna on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you've never heard of her before, and 10 being that she's your favorite artist in the world.
I would say maybe a 2.5 to 3. 2.5.
I think 2.5 is a very accurate rating of your current knowledge of
I feel
Madonna.
like I should know more about her and know more of her music and recognize it, but it is a 2.5.
Well, that's okay. So you're going to have some homework.
Yep. I'm going to listen to 1 hour every single day for 7 days this week.
The audience can listen along with you by going to Spotify
Yep.
and following our playlists at Spotify:/user:/music she missed.
I'm looking forward to this week so I can make that 2.5 a little bit higher.
Me too. I hope you enjoy this week of listening to Madonna. Rachel, I'll see you in a week, and audience will be back with you in just a moment. Welcome back. Rachel, you spent the last week listening to the Queen of Pop, Madonna.
Madonna, yes, we have listened to it for this whole entire week, and I am actually surprised by it all.
Okay, what'd you think? What were your general impressions of Madonna?
Well, okay, so I was really taken aback, and I thought I wouldn't be because I was like, I've heard a few songs from her.
Right.
Like I heard the Material Girl song beforehand. I've heard Like a Virgin song before. And so I was like, I kind of knew a little bit about her, but not that much. Because I gave a 2.5 before.
Correct.
But now that I've kind of spent an entire week, oh my goodness. I was just very taken aback of how sexual she was.
Yeah, she is very sexual. And in fact, that's one of the things that she's really known for, and that she has pushed boundaries in for the last
Yeah.
30 years.
Because, this is season 2. And so during season 1, there was 2 specific artists that we kind of dove into. And,
Pop artist.
yeah, pop artist JT, which, yeah, he was sexual, but not this sexual. He talked a little bit about dancing, but she's just like all sexual. And then there was another one, but she just took me aback because, wow.
So I wouldn't say that Justin Timberlake or Beyonce are less sexual than Madonna lyrically.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
I thought she was definitely much more. Like,
Okay, can you give maybe some examples from some songs that you heard, or maybe music video you watched, or something like that?
sometimes it's also how she delivers certain lines.
Okay.
How it's like breathy and
Oh, like the breathy.
yeah, it was just like
Okay.
very suggestive. Even just some of the lines of how she delivered them. And then even in the music videos of just how she would just walk by a group of men or boys or whatever, and it was just like that line had nothing to do with sexuality, but she made it in the video that it was all about her sexuality of her body and blah 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 blah. I'm just like, oh my goodness, this was so much more than Beyonce and so much more than JT. There's the whole dance floor, hey, stuff like that. But then there's Beyonce of like, hey, there's women power. But she was just like, woo, my anatomy is I'm a female.
I just have to disagree with you again, because if you listen to, say, and watch the video for Partition with Beyonce,
Oh, yeah, that one's
with,
sexual.
you know, Monica Lewinsky all over my gown, etc. Like, I mean, those are pretty
Oh, that
explicit.
is very explicit.
And, you know, Justin Timberlake singing, even in the early songs, you know, gonna have you naked by the end of the song. Like, these are, I don't understand why you are offended by Madonna, but not by these other two artists that are following in her footsteps in a lot of ways.
Maybe because JT and Beyonce is a little bit more our generation, where for Madonna, she was during my younger years, where obviously during my younger years, my thought process was never there.
Okay, so are you saying that it's just because she was in the 80s and the 90s and that's why it's more explicit? I'm just trying to understand your thought process here.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm like, I kind of expected it with Beyonce, expected it with JT.
Okay.
A little bit. But Madonna, I just didn't think it would be dripping this much. To a point where, oh, wait. Throughout the week. So, okay, I'm working on a little woodworking project. Right?
Okay. Listening to Madonna.
Yeah. No, this is after my hour of the day of Madonna.
Okay.
So I'm working on this project, trying to put some furniture together. Somehow, putting together furniture became sexual. Like, there was a female part and a male part, and I'm like, oh, for the love of God.
Oh, you're Madonna, like hammering little nails
and
into
I'm
little
like,
holes.
Madonna has taken over my brain. And I'm like, even putting together a little furniture thing
became sexualized.
Yes. And I was just like, oh my.
That's interesting. I did not have that experience listening to Madonna this week as I was preparing the history.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I want to kind of dive in a little bit with that. Of the influences, how she was influenced by other people. And then also, why is she so famous? Because I won't lie to you, in my opinion, because, we're all listening for my opinion, that her voice, it's not that great. Where I can say Beyonce, like Halo, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. There is beauty in her voice. Where for her, it's not as much beauty. Sorry.
So let's talk a little bit about Madonna's history.
Why she's so famous.
Sure. So she started out as a dancer. She moved to New York. She wanted to pursue.
No wonder why she likes to sway her hips.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was into dance. That was her first intentional career.
Okay.
And then she was in a couple of bands. Where she sang, she played drums, she played guitar. She's actually multi-talented in that sphere. She can play many different instruments and sing. And then after these couple of bands, she decided to form her solo act. Her first album was in 1983 called Ma-Do-nna.
She just named it after herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so did Beyonce. She has an album after herself also.
Yeah, but was that her first?
No.
Oh.
But lots of artists do that.
Okay.
So her first album was Madonna. But the albums that really kind of set her
apart,
made her popular internationally.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Were Like a Virgin in 1984 and True Blue in 1986. These two albums became very popular in the United States, in the UK, and around the world.
Okay, and she received awards and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. She has 7 Grammys.
Wow.
And 2 Golden Globes as well. She's also the best-selling female artist of all time. She's sold more than 300 million records worldwide.
Wow.
Over the last 3 decades in her career.
So a lot of people like her.
Yes, they do. One of the things that keeps Madonna interesting and keeps her famous is that she continues to reinvent herself and her music and her image throughout the years, bringing in different influences, collaborating with different artists, doing different styles, fashion changes, right? Changing her look, changing all of these things so that she continues to remain relevant in the culture, continues to push
those
boundaries.
envelopes and things. So kind of wanting to talk a little bit about, I know we talked about the sexuality stuff, just how she pushed the boundaries on the religious part. Some of her lyrics, I was just like, how did you make this topic sexual or something like that?
So a good song to talk about in that regard is Like a Prayer, which is from 1989. And this song, she actually had signed a deal with Pepsi. And the song was in a Pepsi commercial. Like she was going to be a sponsor, or a, what is that called? A spokesperson for Pepsi. The music video that went with Like a Prayer was very offensive.
Yeah.
Across the board. It featured a lot of Catholic symbols like stigmata. There are burning crosses in it. She's in a church, in her underwear.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, and she has a dream of making love to a saint.
And this is a Pepsi commercial.
No, it was the music video, but the song was
Oh, yeah.
But the video was so offensive to so many that the Vatican actually condemned the video and said Madonna was not welcome in the Vatican.
Wow.
And Pepsi,
the Pope said that.
Yes. And Madonna was raised Catholic, I should mention. Pepsi revoked the commercial and canceled her sponsorship contract.
Ouch.
But what's so crazy is that this event didn't make her pull back or, toe the line. She continues to cross boundaries. And it's not just Catholics that she's offended. In one of her live shows, she wore like Hindu makeup and in like a sacred thing of that, and like offended a lot of Hindus also. So
wow. So she just really takes that artistic liberties in many ways where people have written her off.
Yeah, but it doesn't enough people. It's never enough.
But she still got all those records sold.
Like a Prayer actually made her even more popular, because whenever somebody bans something, it makes it attractive and makes people want to see, like, oh, what is so terrible about this? I have to see it, right? But many of her music videos were like banned from MTV and VH1.
MTV even banned her?
And VH1? Certain videos, yeah. And
I was never allowed to listen to MTV.
I wasn't either, but I watched it anyway. I would sit on my bed with the remote control and like channel change or whatever, and like, oh, Mom's coming, change the channel, go back to Nickelodeon or whatever. Of course, after the Madonna heydays.
That's funny. So fashion wise, we talked a little bit about that earlier last week, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about her movie stuff with Evita and Argentina.
Well, let's talk about that, because you told me that your favorite song of the list was "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina."
She was gorgeous in that song, where it made me actually even question that was her. And I had to keep looking. I was like, oh, wait, that was her. And then I looked her up on YouTube with that specific song, because I wanted to make sure that was actually her. I wanted to see her face sing those words.
You didn't trust me?
Oh, I trust you, but I didn't trust you all at the same time.
Yeah. So Evita is a movie based on a musical about the life of Eva Perón. And Madonna loved this show. And she specifically requested to be in this movie. And she did get the role. And she actually took voice lessons to... Oh,
so she didn't do voice lessons beforehand?
No.
Because she was a professional dancer. Now she's finally taking voice lessons.
Well, I think that her voice was good for what she was doing, the kind of pop music she was creating. But to be in a role like this, you have to have a broader range and more skills.
More control.
Exactly. So she was able to achieve that. And her performance in that movie won her... the Golden Globe for Best Actress, and a lot of singles came from that soundtrack, including "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina."
That was a very pretty song.
I included that song because I thought that you would enjoy it, and it might show you a different side
of
her diversity, because she's actually in a lot of movies.
Yeah, which... honestly, now that I remember, she's in actually one of my favorite movies.
Which is?
A League of Their Own.
That's a good one.
I like the line, "There's no crying in baseball."
Yeah.
I think that's a funny line.
So she did a lot of films, especially in the 90s. The last movie that she was in pretty much was called Swept Away, which was directed by her husband at the time, Guy Ritchie. But that movie is widely negatively reviewed, and she hasn't really been doing movies since then.
Okay, so she still sings, she still produces music, and she does still concerts.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Wow. And how old is she now?
Making me do math. She was born in 1958. So she's in her 50s.
Wow. Okay. So who was she influenced by?
So Madonna was influenced musically by artists like Led Zeppelin and David Bowie. But she was also influenced by Marilyn Monroe. And you can see a lot of attempts by Madonna to imitate her in some of her music videos and in her look and in her style.
Gotcha.
But Madonna has influenced scores and scores of artists. Basically any female pop star since her has been influenced by her. You could credit her directly for people like Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, especially a female artist whose popularity is centered around their sexuality that comes from Madonna. Because before that, that was kind of like a male thing. And Madonna brings like female sexuality into pop music in a way where it didn't exist before, but that people have been copying since then.
Okay, gotcha. Kind of want a little backtrack a little bit. You mentioned that she's married.
She was married. She's been married twice, but she's not married right now.
So does she have any kids?
Yes.
Okay.
She was actually pregnant while Evita was being filmed.
Oh, well, very cool. She's so sexual. I don't know if you can comment on her parenting or whatever, but
I cannot.
So the sexual stuff that she does, like, golly, like, she pushes the envelope to a point where I'm like thinking in my mind, she can't be okay with a young child or a young daughter like this.
You know, I don't want to speak on Madonna's behalf of why she does what she does. But for her, all different kinds of sexuality and exploration in that way is very normalized. And she spent a lot of her career trying to make things that people thought weren't okay and like bring them out into the forefront. She produced a book about sex.
Really?
Yes. She has done all kinds of things to just bring that conversation and like talk about what is normal, you know.
And people are like not disgusted by this. They keep buying her records.
I mean, some people are, but yeah, most people just kind of go, oh, that's Madonna. She's doing it again. I mean, even in the past few years, she's like kissed Britney Spears, like on stage. She was on David Letterman dropping F-bombs, asking him to like smell her panties.
What?
Like,
that's gross.
She has simulated pleasuring herself like from stage at her concerts. She's just really out there.
That's beyond out there in my book. Like, that's
right. So in short, if your first album that you wanted to buy had been Madonna and not Shania Twain, I doubt your dad would have let you buy it.
Oh my gosh, no. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she is. So for those people that aren't, you know, turned off by all this.
The millions and millions of people around the world, yes.
I guess I'm not like them.
I guess you're not. Well, this is a good time, I guess, for you to rate your appreciation of Madonna's music. And if you can, try to just focus on the music, because this is not a character evaluation show. It's just about introducing you to the music and the way it shaped culture. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's your new favorite and 1 being you want to throw it in the garbage, how likely are you to listen to Madonna's music again and make it part of your life?
So I'm actually shocked by this, because I've seen movies that has her music in them, and I like those movies.
Yeah, and she has some really great songs.
Yeah, and I like A League of Their Own. I don't think she sings in that one, but my rating, 2.5.
Okay.
I'm actually surprised by that. I thought it was going to be lower because of how taken aback by her I am, but also there are some things I like about her.
Okay.
I like the movie A League of Her Own, but I don't think she sings in it. But I really like that Evita and the Argentina stuff. I think that was really pretty.
So maybe, you would watch some of her movies, you listen to the Evita soundtrack, but her pop music, her dance music doesn't interest you.
Yeah, pass.
Okay. Well, sorry, Madonna.
Allison tried. E for effort. So it's not always a guarantee that I'm going to like every single music artist that you present to me, but I am excited for future artists that you're going to show me and I get to learn and have fun with. So
if you would like to follow along with Rachel's journey, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also subscribe on iTunes and check out all the playlists for Madonna and future artists on Spotify.
Thanks so much. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.